You have been a vegetarian for 35 years. But you were practically going to the bathroom almost 10 times a day. Is it true?
Even more than that.
This is something that is definitely disabling because you couldn't do an activity, you always had to run anyway.
Of course, of course. I was always with the thought of the bathroom.
Wherever you went.
Everywhere I went, I always had this thought.
Then, when faced with these problems, you saw Life 120 and decided to go back to eating meat and obviously follow the lifestyle.
But the bath was the last stage because it was always preceded by continuous bloating, a lot of stomach acidity, reflux, crazy headaches at night.
So there was this whole strange situation.
Only my wife can tell you what headaches I used to get in the middle of the night. I would wake up with a headache because I couldn't digest.
So then you couldn't get any more healthy rest, I mean restorative rest certainly. Were you taking any medications?
No.
So you were leaving it that way anyway. I read that you then started following the Life 120 lifestyle and reintroduced meat. I know the question is a bit private, but now how often do you go to the bathroom?
Once or twice.
Per day, so are you regular?
Very regular.
I want to talk to you right away about the chronic irritable bowel problem that you had for 30 years. And here then you also had problems with hemorrhoids coming out.
Those disappeared, my hemorrhoids.
Here we go in order. You were having problems with hemorrhoids and then you were having problems with your bowels. So bouts of constipation. Basically, this was the dramatic situation.
I was collapsed myself in the intestine. I had an intestinal blockage. I collapsed. I went to the hospital.
So did it also cause you this kind of illness?
30 years ago, it was...
Then you started to do the Life 120 lifestyle. I want to ask you, first of all, how are your hemorrhoids?
I saw nothing more. I have not seen anything since doing Life 120.
Then the constipation, for which you also had these problems?
For that, I had gone as far as taking 3 10-herb tablets. Now, since I've been following this lifestyle here, I've started to reduce to taking only 2 more, and now I don't take tablets anymore and I'm fine.
You had dysbiosis problems with recurrent colitis for many years, and you were even sometimes getting to 20 daily discharges.
That's true.
What was your life like?
A very disabling life for me, even at the work level, at the social level, because I couldn't organize my life the way I wanted to. And I got better thanks to the lifestyle created by Adriano. I never solved the problem with other methods, with medicines and various things. By having this eating style, I lead a better life. And I no longer have 20 discharges a day.
You had dysbiosis problems with colitis, giving you severe pain in your right side, and then alternating moments of constipation with diarrhea. Basically, how long have you been suffering from this?
Almost forever.
Always?
Forever. Since always. I never treated this condition, partly because I didn't know, I didn't understand, and maybe the treating doctor treated me with traditional medicines, and that was fine with me. But I would fall back on it because rightly it was the problem.
Was the problem. Added to this were problems with diverticulitis.
A lot, which I discovered 3-4 years ago.
Did you discover your diverticulitis problems 4 years ago? You've tried them all, I guess?
Yes, even as much as not, and I tried as well. Knowing I had this problem, for me it was a problem having known it. At this point I tried to find remedy, but the remedies were alternating, as also for the first case.
So they lasted very few moments.
Then I had to limit myself to what was the feeding in a particular way. I couldn't eat one, the other. I had to be really on the fence, but in such a way that then I always had the same problem, either one side or the other.
Look, then at some point you started doing the Life 120 lifestyle, and I'll tell you a date because you started from August 20.
Yes.
What happened immediately?
Immediately I got a phone call from a Life 120 member because I had made phone calls before. As I had made phone calls, she phoned me and told me what I wanted, and I said, for the cause I called her, I don't need anything. However, since I changed my lifestyle, I have been using Life 120. I feel something new that I have never experienced. The lady answered me. I say, for you it's something. She says, no, for us it's not. However, if it has this effect, continue that it will be even better. I say, ma'am, I hope so, which in fact...
Then, so how is it going with your intestines, constipation problems, diverticulitis problem?
It's a beautiful thing. It's great. I mean, I'm reborn in my 70s.
You were having problems with your bowels with several discharges of diarrhea throughout the day.
7-8 times a day. To say the
Even
least,
so
yes, when I was already waking up twice before breakfast. I was already going to the bathroom twice before breakfast.
Wherever you went, basically, you always had to know where the bathroom was.
No, whatever, that was not the problem. I was going too often though. In fact, I mean, I would go to the bathroom, I'd eat anything, I'd go to the bathroom right away. And it also seemed like, I mean, at work it seems like you make fun of people. They say you're always in the bathroom.
But now with Life 120 though, how are you doing with your intestines? Are you eating
And once a day, that's enough.
So
I am punctual and quiet.
you for years suffered from colitis that manifested as bloating and constipation and went to the bathroom every 3 or 4 days, right?
No, it's the opposite.
Every 3, 4, that's right. You had constipation. You were alternating constipation. In fact, you were going to the bathroom every 3, 4 days, right?
Right.
That's right. And in addition to this kind of issue like bloating and so on, was it also giving you other problems?
Yes, then apart from cervical, that unfortunately, yes, along with constipation and precisely headaches, cervical, but other issues also about a periarthritis.
We'll talk about that later. Let's focus on this apparatus.
It was for years it was this discomfort. It suffered me a lot because it was giving me a lot of discomfort. The body was responding badly, so a huge discomfort.
Then together with your husband, who is here beside you, Mr. Di Bello, you decided to start the Life 120 lifestyle. So how is the colitis and bloating?
I basically don't remember them anymore.
You used to go to the bathroom every 3, 4 days. Now how do you go to the bathroom?
Absolutely regular every day.
You suffered for several years from irritable bowel syndrome and diarrhea discharges.
Too much,
so a
yes.
very disabling thing.
Sure. On top of that, it was causing me tremendous inconvenience because when I was somewhere, maybe since I work a lot connected to the internet, that's my job mainly. If I had to take advantage of a Wi-Fi connection somewhere, I would find myself having to take everything down or call her to the rescue so I could find a bathroom. And it was terrible. All I had to do was have a glass of water and it would set me off.
We know it then, however, then you met, fortunately, Life 120 lifestyle. How is it going?
Very regular. Perfect.
Regularly? What about your colon?
Relax.
You suffered from intestinal dysbiosis for years with very disabling gastrointestinal problems. I know that these gases were so powerful that there were even noises in your belly that sounded like a balloon bursting. Is that true?
A ball? More than a balloon, it looked like a bomb.
So you felt bloated, basically?
Yes, I was always bloated.
Based on what you were eating, then you had these gastrointestinal problems. However, on top of that, you also had, I read, and I'm stunned, even 20 to 30 discharges a day of uncontrolled diarrhea.
Yes.
Basically, throughout the day, what was going on with you? So you always had to identify the bathroom?
Day and night. Let's put night. It's not during the day, it was day and night.
So all day, all night, you were having up to 30 discharges a day. So I guess also physically, in addition to the pains, you were also physically feeling very debilitated. Is it true that every time you ran to the bathroom, you were practically seeing foods that you hadn't fully digested as well? That is...
Sure.
Is it true?
Yes, indeed. Many times in the middle of dinner, in the middle of lunch, I had to get up, go to the bathroom, and then come back and finish dinner or lunch, whatever it was.
Then you obviously were concerned about these intestinal issues, goes to your doctor, and your doctor tells you something very, let's call it so surprising. What does he say?
But the doctor, not really the general practitioner, the doctor gave me a referral to go for a gastroenterological examination. The problem is that he was a general practitioner It's really the gastroenterologist who told me that based on the tests I have, which he sees them very well, there's no problem. I don't have to do either the gastroscopy or the colonoscopy because there's probably going to be something psychological.
So the problem was psychological?
Yes, he said absolutely no gastroscopy, no colonoscopy, go home and...
You start doing the Life 120 lifestyle and you definitely will have had a change of direction. So how are you doing with the diarrhea?
Well...
So is your bowel regular?
Very well.
And the problem of intestinal gas?
Those disappeared before the diarrhea. Those already after 1 week were gone.
You for 40 years suffered from intestinal bloating, orophagy, colic,
yes,
a whole range of issues.
Abdominal bloating, let's say, yes. Let's say. I was 22 years old when the first time I felt a great pain in my lower abdomen, and then from that moment, practically, the swelling never left me until a few months ago.
And how did you treat it?
So I had tried everything from pancreatic enzymes, I had tried homeopathy, I used to go to chiropractic for another thing, and even there I used to ask. We had done mineralograms when they didn't exist here in Italy yet.
Did you solve it?
No. I never solved anything myself. I even went to a pranotherapist, and that didn't do anything for me either. A doctor friend of mine had recommended a drug that acted on the nervous system, and I tried to take it, but he also warned me that to 1 in 5 women, it would stimulate prolactin, and I was one of the lucky ones, so I had to discontinue it. In those 5 days, actually, I found an improvement.
It had this downside, though.
Exactly, however, the belief that it was a neurovegetative problem is there, so now I'm consoling myself. I can't do anything more about it.
But you at some point discover the Life 120 lifestyle. You decide to start doing the Life 120 lifestyle. And now, how is your gut?
Well, I, after 20 days, had solved the problem of abdominal bloating.
You, for many years, suffered from constipation, such that you could go to the bathroom every 5 days.
Yes, every 5 days, but then how I used to go every 5 days, I used to say to go to the bathroom, but...
Was it very difficult? For how long?
Very hard.
How long have you been suffering from it?
Since I was a child.
So very soon...
As a child, I always suffered from it. And as it went on, it got worse and nothing got better. I have also tried many, how can I say?
So many ways to solve.
Yes, but at the time, yes, I was solving, but after a few days, even a month, I would go back to being stuck as before.
To be blocked. I know a very important date because it's October 2018, right? And you start doing the Life 120 lifestyle, and then I immediately ask the question, how is your gut doing with your constipation?
But look, I'm doing just fine now.
Regular?
Every morning. It doesn't feel real. Believe me that it doesn't seem real to me.
You had great problems with irritable bowel, basically giving you flank pain, irregular stools, diarrhea, mucus, even blood, a very bad situation. So basically, what kind of life did you have with this colon?
With this colon, I was living the life that everyone who has an irritable colon does. The quality of life is low, however. In front, however, of all the issues that accompanied me, in front there was still a mind that was very devoted to work, to entrepreneurship, to the guys following me. So I was always going on the issues. I would work on them, of course, with stomach protection, with the usual street remedies, and go on and on.
Did you solve it?
Was I solving? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Constipation would take over. Then at certain times the constipation would stop and the diarrhea would take over. It was an alternation of these situations. However, I repeat, with the frequency and with the amount of work that I was working 15 hours a day, non-stop, I would go with my head and not think about it.
Then you started just 2 months ago to follow the Life 120 lifestyle. Now, how is your gut?
Actually, after 10 days, this problem was gone. 10 days.
I know that you had a problem. Basically, for the last 5 years, you had recurring diarrhea. However, you would get it much stronger on the weekends. What was going on?
The weekend was dramatic when I would cease my activity, that I would relax. I would spend more time in the bathroom than doing the rest of the things that you do on the weekend. It was really dramatic, just 5 or 6 times a day.
Then, and this I want to join it because it's still for sports activity and so on, you being a sportsman had, in addition to this problem, let's say diarrhea, also a knee problem. So you being a sportsman, biking, skiing, you basically had to give it up because of these 2 issues.
Exactly. Just also my knee. All the time I had stopped riding my bicycle because just after about 10 kilometers it would start to squeak, it would hurt, it would get inflamed, and I would go afterwards.
So between bowel and the knee problem, you were forced to sit still. Then you started following the Life 120 lifestyle. Now, how is your gut?
I'd say everything has normalized, my knee no longer hurts, and I've started riding my bike again.
You had problems with constipation so much that you went to the bathroom every 4 days. Is that true?
Yes.
So, in short, it was a bad thing.
That was also a problem because it also always affected my back pain.
I understand. Then added to that was the problem that you had recurring headaches, and how often did you get them?
Often, even once a month more, he would also take my shoulder, so it was all connected.
All connected, all related inflammation. Were you taking medication to keep this headache at bay?
Yes, always.
Then you start following the Life 120 lifestyle. Then how is your bowel regularity?
Very well, very regular.
You also had problems with constipation.
Yes.
So you were irregular.
Yes, I was irregular.
For several years, you couldn't go to the toilet regularly. Then you start the Life 120 lifestyle, and now
regularly.
Very regular.
Yes.
You also suffered from irritable bowel syndrome, practically from the time you were a child. You had bloating. You recounted that you looked pregnant because of how swollen your belly was. Plus, you had excruciating pain in your bowels and also diarrhea. So it was an unbelievable and unmanageable situation.
Yes, irritable colon, bending pain in 2, in 3, and 4. I always say this because I used to revolt on the floor sometimes because I didn't know how to handle this very sword.
Did you use medication or some other method to manage them?
I tried various ways, homeopathy, many things, but I could never solve.
Then you started the Life 120 lifestyle. Now, how is your irritable bowel?
I can say that from right away, practically. From right away, after a week, already when I was eating, I didn't feel pain anymore because it happened right after I ate.
You suffered from irritable bowel syndrome, gave you a series of twinges in your sides, right?
Yes, yes.
What was happening every time, in short, that you ate? Was it a constant thing?
Yes, pretty much constant. Every day, especially after meals, there would be these very severe, bothersome pains, resulting in diarrhea.
Then on top of that, there was a series of recurrent cystitis that you had for over 30 years.
Yes.
So you had discomfort there as well.
Yes, indeed, that I was trying to buffer with antibiotics, natural cures. However, it was not resolved at the root.
To that, because it didn't end, you had problems with colitis. So with pains after the meal, as you were saying then the running to the bathroom, because you had problems even to go to the bathroom with diarrheas, plus she also had hemorrhoids come out. So a situation we can say quite tragic, quite difficult.
Yes?
You start doing the Life 120 lifestyle, I ask you, how is your irritable bowel now?
Perfect.
Cystitis?
Disappeared.
Disappeared cystitis after 30 years.
After 30 years?
actually after only 3 days, I would like to point out, because even now it seems impossible even to me.
After 30 years that you had these cystitis in just 3 days with Life 120, you solved this problem. I'm going to go on. If you want to clap, I'm going to go on because we talked about this colitis that was excruciating. And so that you had after every meal, how was it going?
Great.
What about hemorrhoids?
I don't know what they are anymore.
I read in your file that you had problems with psoriasis and colitis.
Yes.
That in short, you were getting them, frequently had them for several years, then you started the Life 120 lifestyle. I ask you quickly, how is your psoriasis?
Psoriasis is cured practically.
Healed?
That's right.
Colitis?
Colitis literally overnight.
From night to morning?
The next day I had nothing left, after 2 months of Life 120.